How the fuck do we do an introduction? What do I say? Hey guys, what's up?
Yeah, that's it.
How you doing, guys?
How you doing?
Welcome to episode 5 of
Welcome
the Subs
to
Bench.
the Subs Bench.
It's probably episode 5, right?
It's episode 5.
Pretty sure it is.
Yeah, it is.
The first one on our YouTube channel that we just now decided to make after like 2 months of doing it.
Yes, sir.
It's about time.
Look at you doing the introduction.
Exactly. I did a pretty good job, I think. I'm Adrian.
And I'm Mateo, guys. And today, it's Champions League talk. All about Champions League, Adrian.
Time passed really quickly. I didn't think it would already be time for another Champions League game week.
It's probably because, remember, when we shot it, we didn't have time to shoot it before Champions League.
It's like a week after, right? Yeah, so that makes sense. Maybe that's why.
That's why I went quick. But boy, am I ready. This is when, at least, even if the games are boring, but this is where it gets interesting, Adrian.
This is where it gets real. We find out who the real teams are.
We find out.
Because this competition
Who's
really
worthy.
starts from the quarterfinals onward.
I'm kind of excited. You know, these past couple of games, of course, you could probably tell who's going to qualify, but you never know in this
You
tournament.
never really do know. Do you?
Exactly. You never do know.
A lot of great games coming up.
That's what makes Champions League very special.
That's what makes any knockout tournament really, really special in it.
Even the CONCACAF Champions League or CONCACAF.
No one watches that. I'm talking about like the Champions League, the Libertadores, like all the really big competitions.
There you go. Oh, and today, in honor of Champions League,
A bag of chips,
good old
unbranded,
bags of not Lay's.
of unbranded potato chips that are absolutely not Lay's. Ignore the bag.
So good. Really, really good. All right, so what do you say? Why don't we go down in order of how these games are going to happen? From first one's coming up to the last one.
Let's
Of course, we're not going to, I don't know if we're going to get through all games, because let's be honest, who really wants to hear about Man City against Copenhagen?
I'm just going to say right now to get out of the way, City are going to win 6-0. De Bruyne is going to get the man of the match. So that's all we're going to talk about, Man City.
That's all the Man City
I
conversation.
should have
you
worn a
gotta do.
different jersey.
You know, because really, if Copenhagen somehow eliminate Man City, then
Holy shit.
I'll
One hell of a story that's going to be.
Jesus. I'll bet $100. I'll give $1,000 to Adrian, and Copenhagen win.
I'm not going to hold you to that.
But that's to show you that I'm really comfortable that I don't want to see it, but they're gonna win.
I'm not going to hold you to that because I feel like if that does happen, I kind of want that to happen. It'd be really funny if it did. But they're going to win
Who doesn't want
6-0.
$1,000?
City are going to win 6-0.
City are gonna win, but of course that's not the game that's happening first.
First
We're
game,
starting off with Real Madrid and Leipzig, aren't we?
Interesting game.
And Barcelona and Bayern against Lazio.
Interesting games.
Bayern against Lazio. I'm more excited about Bayern against Lazio.
All to play for in those games.
Real Madrid is not as exciting because Real Madrid are always a different team when they play in Champions League. But
Sure, yeah.
they haven't been in the best form recently.
No, they have not. They can blame the refs if they want, but they haven't been in a good run of form in a while. They haven't been convincing since the Super Cup win against Barcelona. And I think on that game in particular, Barcelona were just really bad. So the truth is,
That kind of sums up Barcelona's whole season.
pretty much, yeah. But the truth is, I think that if Leipzig are going to win, this is their chance. They're not going to play Real Madrid in a better place to win than right now. And I think it only ends two ways.
What are those two ways?
I think Real Madrid wipe the floor with them, and it ends like 3-4, 5-0. Or Leipzig win 1-0, and it goes to extra time.
Real Madrid have tied what? 2 times in the last 3 games, and they won 3-2, I believe. Let's see. 1-0 against Sevilla. Sorry, 1-0 against Sevilla, and they
Last
tied against
minute.
Rayo. They tied against Valencia, of course, with a very controversial call from everyone about the
We'll
referee.
discuss that at some other point.
Yeah, we'll get to that at some other point. And those are all the games that happen after they face Leipzig. You know.
They haven't been great. And Leipzig have had a pretty decent run of form since then, I'm pretty sure.
You know, I was really shocked by the way Real Madrid played this week. But, again, Real Madrid's a different team when they play Champions League.
Sure.
Do you agree?
Sure. You say so.
But
It's more of a myth, but okay.
Leipzig, on the other
Leipzig.
hand,
Since that loss to Real Madrid, they beat Mönchengladbach 2-0. They lost 2-1 to Bayern.
last minute goal from Bayern.
from Harry Kane, and then beat I think who's that? That's not. They beat Bochum 4-1. Pretty convincing victory, it seems.
And it seems they give Bayern a hard time.
Yeah, they gave Bayern a hard time. That's not really impressive nowadays, right? But
It used to mean something back then.
it did.
But it seems both teams are coming in very different from each other.
I think they're both coming in about the same.
Even Real Madrid, who've been tied. Because
Yeah,
if
but
you had
Real
to see the,
Madrid-
seeing the papers, seeing the results on paper, of course, Leipzig looks better. Of course, because they won, not because they faced better teams.
Yeah,
But there were games, these upcoming games that Real Madrid played.
they've hardly.
They should have won those games.
They should have.
All of
They
them.
weren't against easy opposition. Rayo away from home was never easy. Valencia and Mestalla are never easy. I mean, I guess they're kind of used to having the referee on their
you
side
left
for
out
it.
Sevilla.
They should be beating Sevilla. By quite a bit.
That's just wow.
Sevilla at the Bernabeu who are fighting relegation. You should be beating them by a lot more than 1-0, but okay.
Sevilla did have some chances too. I mean, Real Madrid won at the end in that game.
That's all they care about. The point is, it's a tough game. It can be a tough game for both sides.
You never know in Champions League.
I think it's going to be. I think Leipzig are gonna get the 1-0 victory after 90 minutes. And I don't know what's going to happen after extra time.
Oh, that's your prediction.
That's my prediction.
And what happens after overtime?
I think
If you had to take a guess, come on.
It's probably an 119th minute penalty to Real Madrid so they can go through. But
So you do see Real Madrid going.
probably, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not on merit, but on special treatment. But whatever.
Oh, okay. Okay. Why don't we hop into the next one? Bayern against Lazio.
Bayern Lazio.
Tuchel, all or nothing for Tuchel.
Tuchel is playing for his job that he already lost. He's not going to be there next season.
I mean, you should still play for pride, right?
Sure. If he wants to.
I mean, why not? You want to end it on a good note with a team, even though you know you're going to get fired. Not fired,
I mean,
but
he has
know.
no special relationship with the Bayern fans. If he gets fired, it's hardly going to affect him into a personal level.
You know what just came to me? He used to be a Dortmund coach. I forgot about that.
He is, right? Yes, he can give a shit what the Bayern fans think of him.
But then again, everyone goes to Dortmund. Everyone from Dortmund goes to Bayern.
Yeah, everyone, even the coaches.
Exactly.
Even
Look,
the fans.
look at that. You see?
Exactly.
Maybe those Dortmund players might come back.
But they'll come back when they're like 34 years old.
Yeah, like
A
almost.
few league titles under their belt, maybe a Champions League, and then come back to get paid a lot of money and not do anything with Dortmund.
Hey, what better way to end it off than a team like Dortmund that goes to Champions League every week?
Sure.
But
Never
if
aspires to win anything.
If Bayern do get eliminated, what does that say?
I mean, Tuchel's out the door the second the referee
No,
blows the
but
whistle.
the
if they
club
lose.
itself. Bayern's a pretty big club.
I mean, maybe it would do them some benefit. They would be able to focus solely on the league. But, I mean,
At this point,
all they're fighting for at this point is to try and get as far into the Champions League as they can. And this Lazio side is playing for a lot more than just a result. It would be a historic victory for them. They have the lead. I already have a prediction in mind.
save that.
I will.
Save that for later. But the last 3 games for Bayern have been a win, a loss, and a draw. Not in that specific order.
Hardly great. Not great from them.
Against all games they should have won. All of them. And they got to go in the last minute. They almost tied 2. What is going on with this Bayern team, honestly? They're not even performing in the big stages, too.
They're not. And I don't really know. Everything's kind of out of order in this team. And it's a team that on paper should be playing a lot better than they are. They have a plethora of talent. But it's just not really working for them, is it? I think Tuchel's out of ideas. I think the squad doesn't quite back Tuchel anymore. They're just kind of floating through the rest of the season. And that's why I don't think they're going to get through.
Remember last season how Bayern didn't have a striker? And I don't know if you thought this was the problem, but I thought maybe the problem for Bayern was that they didn't have someone to replace Lewandowski. This season they did. And they found him, Harry Kane. He's been scoring goals, but it doesn't seem like it's been solving Bayern's problems.
I don't think their problem was a striker. I think their main problem was defensively. They have a resounding lack of defensive solidity. Last season, they didn't have Manuel Neuer. Not that Neuer has been all that great before his injury and after his injury. They have center backs that aren't that great. De Ligt isn't playing. Upamecano seems to step onto the field with the only objective being to get sent off. And
Excuse me.
Kim Min-jae is not playing as often as I thought he would because he had a spectacular season with Napoli
That's actually shocking.
before. So it's a lack of defensive solidity that has often really let them down.
Oh, Bayern. Those good old days.
They're gone.
Where did
But
it all go
Lazio haven't
wrong?
been great either.
That's the shocking part, too. That's what shocked everyone. They haven't been great, but yeah, how did Lazio come the superior one?
Because since that 1-0 win against Bayern, they lost 2-1 to Bologna, beat Torino 2-0, lost 2-1 to Fiorentina, and lost 1-0 to AC Milan.
Before, you said, right?
After
After?
that win,
2-1 to AC Milan is not as bad.
1-0 to AC Milan.
Oh, 1-0.
And yeah, it's not bad, but they've not been playing great. They haven't had a lot of great results. Torino, I'm pretty sure.
And I'm
played
pretty sure
in
they're like
relegation.
below top 6, right? Lazio?
Let's find out. Lazio are 9th, Torino are 10th. That was like a direct fight for European qualification between
The conference
Lazio and Torino.
league. The
Conference
fight
league.
for the conference league.
It's still European competition.
But they're playing in the Allianz Arena. But not even the fact that they're playing in the Allianz Arena, I don't
hardly-
feel like that's a big deal now.
It's hardly been a fortress this season.
Exactly.
Like, they haven't been great. Truth is, this game is a 50-50 call because neither team has been great.
So you see the game going either way.
So I think I call it 0-0 draw. I think Lazio's goalkeeper, I believe his name, what is his name? I forget his name.
I don't know anyone there besides Immobile.
Providel. I think Providel's going to have a great game. I think he's going to keep a clean sheet. He's going to win the man of the match. I think he's going to carry that Lazio side on his back.
It still finds me shocking to see in the table positions Bayern second. At this point of the season.
And very convincingly second. Because it's not like they're second by a point or 2 points. They're second, I think they're 8 points, 10 points behind Leverkusen.
Remember when you said they were closer to third than they are to first? Mm-hmm. Now they're way closer to third than they are to first.
This Bayern team looks more likely to drop into third than they do to get closer to Leverkusen at the top of the table.
It's a new era.
It is.
A new era.
Let's see if this new era will last longer than the end of the season.
Even though despite their obstacles and hurdles for Bayern, I still think they are going to qualify. They will definitely score, for sure. They've scored in their last few games, but the only question is, can they actually defend? That's the real question. Can you can score those goals?
Won't be playing. So they're going to have 11 men on the field for 90 minutes.
Wow, you don't like Upamecano.
He's shit. He's garbage. All he's ever done is get in the way of Bayern winning a game. That's all he does. How do you like a player like that?
I can't. I tried to watch Bundesliga, but then
He reminds me of Langley. Like, all he does is help the other team.
Lachlan had his short period of time.
He
where
had like
was
a
good.
year where he was good, and then after that, he just went completely to shit.
Then he went to Spurs. Where is he now?
He's playing at Aston Villa.
Really?
Is
Is he a
I think
starter?
he starts at Aston Villa. I'm not sure.
Let's find out real quick, and then we shall move on from Bayern. Clement Lenglet.
Their most recent game on the 2nd of March. The
That was like-
starting center
yeah,
back
he
was
is a starter.
Clement Langley, number 17.
He's a starter. Huh. Good for him.
Good for him.
Good for him. If we only had that. He's on loan?
Yeah, he's on loan from Barcelona.
I thought he was bought.
No, he's still on loan. I hope they buy him.
I mean, if he helps Aston Villa get to Champions League, you wouldn't like to have him at least, maybe even as
Hell
a
no.
backup. Really?
He always
Wow.
has a good first season. Then he goes completely to shit. I'd love to play against him, though. It'd be great to get a penalty and or sending off in the first 15 minutes of a game.
Well, I guess we'll have to see until how he does in the reigning season. Maybe he might get a team of the season card for anyone that plays the EAFC.
It's still called FIFA. I don't care what they try
doesn't?
and tell me.
Who doesn't call it FIFA?
Everybody calls it
Well,
FIFA.
okay, besides this time, but
Everybody calls
for
it
cautious
FIFA.
reasons.
Shall we move forward?
Real Sociedad against PSG. Why do I keep saying Barcelona this whole time? That's the second time I almost said Barcelona. Oh my god. Okay, PSG against Real Sociedad. Real Sociedad's playing at home.
In Anoeta against PSG.
Oh,
They're
boy,
down
have Sociedad
2-0.
have been shit.
They're down 2-0, and they've been in a really, really bad run of form.
Boy,
They
they even
have
got
not
eliminated in
been
Copa del
great.
Rey by Mallorca.
And Mallorca is crazy.
That's mad. Wow.
But
If you
since that
can't beat
2-0
Mallorca, do you really think you can? If you can't
Absolutely
even beat
not.
Sevilla,
They're gonna lose 2-0. No, I call it 1-0 loss.
should that even be for discussion? Talking about Sociedad and turning the game around.
They're not gonna turn it around.
Man, I really hope they do. Because there's one
Since-
thing I don't like is seeing PSG win.
But since that loss to PSG, they beat Mallorca 2-1, lost 3-1 to Villarreal, who've not been great this season, drew 1-1 with Mallorca again, and then lost 3-2 to Sevilla.
A bad Sevilla side.
A really poor one. And since the win against Sociedad, PSG have beat that team 2-0, Rennes 1-1, a draw, and a 0-0 draw with Monaco.
You know, they haven't been so great either, too, when you really think about it.
They haven't been great. Mbappe hasn't been playing, and Mbappe is pretty much the whole team, so...
Until he leaves.
Oh, then the team's fucked when he leaves.
Do you think Mbappe cares if he wins or loses?
No, he doesn't give a shit.
But if PSG do go out at this stage, should Enrique out the door?
I don't think if it's a should. I think it's a will. It will happen.
Even if he's in first in League One.
PSG don't. Nasser Al-Khelaifi isn't known for enjoying a project, right, or a process. If you don't get it done in the first season, you're out the door.
Just look at all the other
Exactly, look.
victims.
And Mauricio Pochettino. Look at Christophe Galtier. Look at the one before that one and the one before that guy.
Well, I never had faith in Galtier, to be honest.
No one did.
And Pochettino, it just shows what kind of a man
Everybody
he is.
tried telling me that Galtier was a good coach and that PSG appointing Galtier was them turning the page and looking
Fuck
for
no.
creating a process, right, and building a squad. And then 6 months later, he was already out the door.
Yeah, you won the league with Lille because it was a fucking fluke. I'm pretty sure it was. Because did you watch that? The French league?
I didn't watch. Who the fuck watches the French league?
Exactly.
I don't know anybody who watches the French league.
No one cares about the French league, you know?
Even with Messi, no one watches the French league.
Fuck the French league.
That league can go fuck
I
itself.
prefer to watch Messi and Inter Miami now.
That league is PSG and 20 other teams, and no one even likes watching PSG. So
I like watching them in Champions League
I like watching the shit show that they always put on in the
because
Champions League.
it's funny.
Very, very, very funny.
Who could be the crucial players for Sociedad to turn this around?
I think Associated want to turn it around. First off,
What should they depend on?
they're going to need a super solid defense. They need to break Mbappe's leg like in the first 15 minutes and get him out of the game.
Literally?
I mean, literally or figuratively, whichever one. But he can't play. Don't get me wrong. Dembele's not going to do anything. He never does, right?
He hasn't been picking it up a little though. Since
sure
the new
he
year.
has.
He actually has. I've seen him. He's been getting a lot of assists more. Now.
Oh yeah, that's great.
But he hasn't been scoring. But at least.
But if Mbappe isn't
he's
scoring
shown.
the goals, no one's scoring the goals in that team. So
Ramos.
Gonzalo Ramos, I forgot he existed.
That's the one from Benfica.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was. I forgot he was a person. I wouldn't. If you didn't tell me his name, I would never have guessed that one. I forgot he was a player.
He's not that bad. He hasn't been doing that bad.
I'm
though.
sure he hasn't. I'm sure he's been all right.
We just don't care about the French league.
No one cares about him.
You just don't care. And you did say that Sociedad's one of Sociedad's strongest. What's the word? What's the word I'm trying to look for? Their strongest. Fuck it. Where they've been the strongest at was defensively. You
Yes,
said.
their biggest asset. I think that's the word you were looking for.
There you go.
Their strongest asset is their defense. If they're not and recently they haven't been defending well. They've been conceding every game. But if they're going to need to defend well if they want to have a chance at coming back.
And
Not
of
that they
course,
will.
we have seen them defend well with teams like Inter, which we'll definitely get onto later on today. But if they could do it against Inter, why not do it against PSG, huh? And especially when you're playing at home too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it as something that's impossible. I just don't see it as something that's going to happen.
But do they have the players to also score? You could defend well. You could defend and tie the game, but
That's the thing with Sociedad. They're not a team that's been characterized with scoring a whole bunch of goals this season because they don't score a lot of goals. They don't have a goal scorer. They lost Isak. They lost the other one.
The other one.
Zorloth, they lost Zorloth, they lost Isaac. They had no.
But they
striker.
have, for example, I could never pronounce the name. Uja Soral,
Oyarzabal?
Ujarazawa. You have Kubo.
Neither of those players are goal scoring wingers.
Not even Uja Soral.
Who?
Uja Soral.
Oyarzabal?
Yeah, that guy.
It's a very Basque name. I can see why it's tough to pronounce.
I was never able to figure out how to pronounce it.
It's just Oyarzabal.
I don't know why. But for example,
You'll figure it
players
out.
like him and Kubo has been scoring a lot. Actually, I'm looking at it right now, though. Surprisingly, he scored 7 goals.
The whole season?
Let's see. Maybe it could just be La Liga. Yeah, just for La Liga.
7 goals in the league. That's not bad after 28 games, I think.
No. Started 19 only and played 21.
That's decent numbers.
That's actually not bad.
How many assists he
And
has?
don't forget, and he has 3 assists too.
So 10 goal contributions in 21 appearances. That's pretty good.
That's actually not bad. That's only me mentioning La Liga, though, of course.
Gonzalo Ramos has 5 goals in Liga on this season.
Now that's sad.
0 goals and assists in the Champions League.
Wait, how about Champions League, though?
It's nothing. Zilch.
Maybe I take back what I said.
No,
Maybe,
no.
See, there's a reason why we don't talk about French league.
He's not a starter. I'm pretty sure he isn't, at least.
You see, we don't talk about it because
I kind of hope he's not. With the numbers he has, at least I want him to have the excuse that he isn't playing.
he's
He's up shit's creek without a paddle. That's why'd he go to PSG? That's his own fault.
Hey, when a team like PSG wants you, hey.
When a team like PSG wants to pay you as much as they want to, then yeah, I
You
guess
can't
he
say
would
no
ought
to
to go
that.
too. I
But-
don't care about winning anything.
Exactly. Just ask Mbappe. He'll tell you all about it. But no, yeah. They do have some. They have those 2 players who are very keen, who are very crucial, I believe, to their offensive side. And I think they'll have to rely on them. If you ask me, of course.
Absolutely.
But of course, then you have players like in PSG side, Mbappe, Asensio. He's a good substitute player.
He's a great player to take off the bench. Very technical.
Very great. And even though he's not like Mbappe, Dembele is like Rafinha.
No, he's better than Rafinha by quite a bit.
But you never know. You could actually expect good from him. Like
You
everyone
see-
expected him to do good in the group stages. He didn't really do as much.
Dembele and Rafinha. You see, the thing about Rafinha just disappears for the whole game and does nothing.
Yeah, but Mbele's like an if.
But Dembele, just out of nowhere, will take on 2 players and put the ball in the box for an assist, or he'll rip a shot out from 20 yards out and score.
You don't think Dembele's like an if?
He's an if, but he's a lot better of an if than Rafinha.
Okay, maybe we could both agree on that, for sure.
We overpaid for both of them. We grossly overpaid for both of them.
How much did Barcelona pay for Rafinha?
60?
It's better than wasting 111 million.
Yeah, but 60's not great for what we got.
But of course, sometimes I do believe that Dembele was worth it, but he was just very injured.
He's just lazy.
No, a part of it, but I don't think that was the weakest side of him. It was more to the point where he was just very fragile.
I think our medical department's pretty garbage, too.
Yeah, Xavi threw them off, but that didn't do much.
That didn't help anything. They're still pretty shit.
Exactly.
Moving forward.
But moving forward, let's go on to next week. We have. Which one should we start with first? Come on.
Let's start with Arsenal.
I mean, Arsenal, I think we know what to expect, right?
Yeah.
Should we?
They might lose.
What?
They might lose. Like, I know y'all should think that they should come back and win this game, right? At home, at the Emirates. They should. But they won't.
You really think Arsenal, with the way they've been playing, they're going to go out? And they won't even score?
Who did they beat? Who did Arsenal beat? No, they beat Luton.
Let's look at the games real quick.
They beat Sheffield United. They beat who's that? Burnley and West Ham. And Newcastle 4-1, but this is not the same Newcastle from last season. They've not been beating great teams. Porto are a lot stronger of a team than all of those teams right now. And Arsenal are still missing the most important part of a squad, which is a striker.
But look how many goals they've conceded, though. throughout this whole. I know they're weak teams, but how many goals have they conceded and scored?
Yeah, if I beat up 5-5-year-olds, that would be pretty impressive too, right? But no, really, it's a 5-year-old. Doesn't matter if there's 5 of them. They're like 3 feet tall. I should be beating up all of them.
But they did beat Liverpool though.
In what? The league? When? Like a
Yeah.
month ago?
Yeah,
A month ago.
it's still Liverpool.
A month
though.
ago. They beat Liverpool and then lost 1-0 to Porto.
All right, but excluding that game from Porto though,
You can't
you
exclude
don't think
it.
they've been going? They've
You
been
can't
doing
exclude
good.
that game because they're going into this game losing 1-0 on aggregate.
But you really don't. What if you had to compare a team like Porto from someone from the Premier League? Who would you compare them as?
Aston Villa.
They beat teams at the level of Aston Villa in the Premier League, though.
Sure. But not going into the game losing 1-0. Porto don't need to do anything.
You think if Porto just sit back?
Shit. All right. Yeah.
You think if Porto just sit back?
Oh, yeah. They cannot sit back. As long as Havertz is starting, they won't score a goal.
Oh, Havertz. You really don't like Havertz, do you?
I don't, it's not that I don't like him as a person. It's just he's a really easy punching bag. I'm going to beat that horse until I can't beat it anymore.
Arsenal last game against it was against Sheffield, right? Mm-hmm. Who scored in that game?
Let's see. If Havertz scored, I can care less. It's Sheffield United.
Odegaard,
Martinelli,
Havertz.
Jaden Bogle.
Havertz.
He scored. Declan Rice, and then Ben White scored also.
And who's to say that Havertz might pop out
He doesn't.
in this game against
He won't.
Porto?
He won't. Don't
And
worry
who
about
are they facing before Porto? Because they are playing one last time before Porto.
it. This was the game.
against
Oh,
Brentford.
yeah, the Brentford.
Because they're
They
playing
played
next week, so they have one more league game to play before.
Brentford. Yeah, who are they playing next then?
After Porto? Or,
Their next match is against Brentford. Brentford, yeah.
And then
Listen,
they're
sure,
off to-
they'll beat Brentford. Or they can slap 20 goals past them. They're going to lose 1-0 to Porto.
should
in the
Arsenal
Champions League
start their
anyway.
players, start their starting 11s, or should they save them for the Champions League?
It wouldn't be a bad idea to save them. I mean, they need all the help they can get, really.
Because I don't know if Porto really seemed very defensive, from the game we saw on the first leg, in the first leg. And Arsenal are a very attacking team, as we've seen with the results, regardless of who they faced.
Sure.
But they still beat big teams that are bigger than Porto, even if they were months ago.
Yeah, in
it's
the
still
Premier
part of the
League.
season.
But whenever they play a game of legitimate importance, they always fold. And it's because they don't have the mentality to go into a game like that, especially losing, to turn it around.
So is it just an Arsenal thing, or can
Yeah, pretty
Arteta
much.
maybe just turn that
No,
around?
he won't.
He won't?
No.
You don't think he'd be the man for it?
He's not the coach to do that. That team is not the team to do that. They're just not that team.
Even if it's a team still full of younglings?
That's exactly the point. That's why they're not going to do it. Not only is the team young, it's also inexperienced and perennial losers. That's why they're not going to do
But
anything.
remember, when Arteta started his first few seasons in Arsenal, he also coached. He started with a team that was older than what they are right now, than this age group, and then he switched those players for younger players.
Conveniently, when he had that squad of older players, it was the only time he ever won a trophy with Arsenal. The FA Cup and the Community Shield.
That's mad.
The
actually.
only time. They haven't won shit since then.
Oh shit!
That's why
You're
I'm saying
right.
this team isn't going to win shit.
Damn, I forgot about that. Yeah, because the last time they won, a bombing was in the team.
Aubameyang,
Leno was in the team.
El Dibu was in the team still.
Xhaka was in the team.
Xhaka?
Saka.
Saka. Was
Yeah.
he in the team?
Yeah. He
Really?
just left Arsenal like last season. Or 2 seasons ago.
Zaha?
Yeah. And he joined Leverkusen. Look. Oh, my mistake. He left this season.
Who? Let me see.
Saka. Remember? The player from Switzerland?
Granit Xhaka. Okay.
Xhaka. I pronounce Xhaka.
It's Granit Xhaka. Yeah, he left. Yeah, the whole squad that won the last title that Arsenal ever won left. They're all not there anymore.
That's mad. Wow. That's actually kind of crazy.
Who's going to, when, let's say, it's the 75th minute, it's 0-0, they're still losing. Who's going to pick the ball up and make a difference in that team? Odegaard?
He is a captain.
No, he's not. He wears the armband, but he's not a captain.
I mean, but that's the
Saka,
thing.
maybe. Martinelli. He spends, let's say he plays 90 minutes. He spends 85 of those minutes staring at the ground with the ball at his feet. He doesn't. Who else? Kai Havertz.
Maybe.
Kai Havertz going to put that team on his shoulder and he's going to fall backwards. You can't do that. Declan Rice? No. I don't know. I don't see anybody on that team who's going to be the difference maker when they're still losing after 75 minutes.
I could actually see Martinelli and Saka.
I don't see either of them doing it.
You wouldn't put your trust on players like Saka,
Is Saka
and
a
Martinelli.
big game player?
Huh?
Is Saka a big game player?
Let me see.
He sure as hell wasn't in the Euros when he missed that pen. He's been a starter in that squad.
You're never going to let him forget that.
Nope. Well, he's been a starter in this squad for the past 2 years. He hasn't won a trophy.
I mean, but did they have the expectations to win a trophy?
Oh, come on. With the squad that they have, with the amount of time Arteta has been leading that team, they should have won something at this point. They shit the bed last season in the Premier League. They hardly have a history of showing up in the most important games. And a Champions League night, second leg, it's a big game, especially for Arsenal.
All right, let's think. Last time Arsenal showed up for a very crucial game and succeeded.
I can't remember. And now they're going to say, oh, when we beat City in the Premier League, it's a league game. It's not the same thing.
So you think Arsenal are the team that could do good in a league game, but they can't do well?
Nope. It's a whole different kind of pressure when you're actually playing for something as important as going through to the quarterfinals. Because this is one and done. You can lose on game week 5 of the Premier League and still have a chance of winning the league. You can't lose this game because you're out. You can't lose a Champions League round of 16 second leg because you're out. That's it. You got to wait until next season.
16, 21, 25, 31. So throughout this whole year, Arsenal have scored 31 goals. And they've only conceded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you see those stats on paper, you think that Porto's going to lose by a margin of goals.
They scored 31 goals all season, but they couldn't score away from home at the Dragao against Porto. What's it all for? Great, you can beat Brentford 6-0. Or you can beat Burnley 5-0. Or you can wipe the floor with Luton Town, who have a stadium smaller than my house. Go for it. You can do that. But in the Champions League against Porto, a team that has gone past the group stage and played Champions League quarterfinals, Champions League semifinals all in the last 5 years, no. They're not going to do it.
Stand very firm.
I don't believe in them.
Wow.
I have no faith in them. I think it's important. I'm going to say it right into the camera right now. Arsenal, I have no faith in you. You're going to get knocked out.
I have this one friend who's also an Arsenal fan. I feel like I want to give him a call, but I don't know if I should. Should I call him?
If you want, I'm just saying I have no faith in them. They have not given any reason to believe that they're going to go into this game tomorrow and win it. Not tomorrow, next week. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, of course. Hey, we spent a great deal of time talking about
dogging on Arsenal. It's a very
Maybe
fun
I'll
thing
call
to
him
do.
later. We'll see.
Sure.
Let's move on, though. With a team, even though Arsenal win games, but they don't win trophies, we have a team that's going to play the same day who don't play well, but they do win trophies, at least last season.
Who?
I'll give you a hint. FCB.
FC Barcelona. We're gonna. I don't.
I'm kind of glad you mentioned that too, because you said Arsenal are a team that could win games, but they just can't win trophies, and you're right about that. But then there are teams that do win trophies, but they don't play that very, very convincing football, like we've seen.
We haven't played
Barcelona.
very convincingly in a very long time. It's very true.
You know, they did play some. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm not mentioning all games, but if you had to summarize the whole season itself, at least last season where they won trophies, it wasn't as convincing.
They haven't been great.
Honestly.
No.
And
I mean,
you know,
last season I think we had a lot of great performances. We just weren't able to score that many goals.
exactly. They just couldn't. They couldn't put that ball in the net.
Couldn't really. I mean, yeah, the second half
Which is
of
the
the
most
season was a
important thing in
strange one.
football. You know,
Yeah,
if you
it
can't
is.
get the ball in, it doesn't matter how well you play, because at the end of the day, it matters who wins.
I mean, if you can't defend well, you'll never win a game.
And that's exactly what's happening with Barcelona
Exactly
right now.
this season, and which is why this second leg is so interesting.
And you know, even though Xavi's already leaving, he should also care about this game, shouldn't he?
Of course he. And like I
Because
said,
this is the last trophy he could win.
I mean, yeah, if he wanted to win the Liga, he needed to beat Athletic Club on Sunday, but he didn't, so he won't.
You see, watching that game against Athletic Bilbao, it really brought me some great fear for what's coming
It
up.
really
And Napoli
gives
beat
you,
Juve.
It gives you every reason to believe that Xavi leaving is the best thing that could happen to this club, because he does not have the mentality to lead this club when it gets hard.
You had one side who came victorious this week, and then you had another side who came as the loser. Napoli this week, even though Juve are also a team that are building themselves, you know, that are reorganizing
But
themselves.
they've been really good this season.
I mean, they've been sitting in second. I can't really speak on that much behalf, because watching Juve play, you know,
Allegri plays horrible football.
it's
but
not as it's
they've
not
been-
the same football that it was 10 years ago, you know, because 10 years ago, Juve was kind of better.
They were a lot better. But now, I mean, they beat Juve. They're looking a lot better since the Barcelona game.
And that's scary for Barca.
It hard, yeah. And Barcelona have not been better since that Napoli game.
The only one I think I've seen better, I think it's Jamal.
And Barcelona are without the two best players in that squad.
And they faced two crazy injuries, unfortunately, which I don't know if the results came out yet.
Pedri has a thigh injury. Frankie de Jong sprained the ever-living shit out of his ankle. They're both out for... Well, Frankie's out
Well,
for...
Pedri could come back maybe. For
Pedri's,
next week.
I think, is going to be out till the end of the season.
Pedri? With the thigh injury? Wait, hold up.
He re-injured the thigh he injured earlier on this season.
Okay.
Because we have a great medical staff. And Frankie sprained his ankle, so he's out for like a month and a half. So in short words, we're pretty fucked.
They could still come out as the winners.
I don't think so.
Wow. You've lost hope.
I think Lewandowski seems to be pretty. He's back to disappearing in every game. Xavi doesn't appear to have the balls to take him off. And that midfield without Frankie de Jong, without Pedri, or the two real playmakers in that squad, it just kind of seems like the squad is gonna get knocked out. I don't see them winning this game. I'm never gonna admit it. If you ask me for a prediction, I think Barcelona are gonna win 2-0,
But
but they probably won't.
Barcelona had the chance to even get to second place, but they didn't take advantage of
They
that.
didn't, and I think that's on Xavi. Because the team never looked like they wanted to go out there and win.
Xavi or the whole team?
They had 2 injuries, right? At the end of the day, it's the coach who has to put the players on the field with the mentality to want to win that game, and they never looked like they really wanted to.
But how was the team before both injuries happened?
Hardly great. But when you lose your 2 best playmakers and you sub on a defensive midfielder and a center back, and
I
you,
did not
and you
understand
leave
that.
your 35-year-old striker who hasn't done anything the whole game to play the full 90 minutes, just kind of says you don't really want to win the game. He was happy with the draw. And when you want to try,
Can't be
and when you
happy.
want to at least give the impression that you want to win a game to fight for the league, you can't do that.
You know, the worst part is the game they have before Napoli is against Mallorca, and Mallorca just beat Girona, even though
They're
Girona
gonna
have not
play-
been great.
Mallorca are going to
Recently.
play a Copa del Rey final in a month.
Honestly, even playing against Mallorca is a big game.
We might not win that game.
I don't know about
I
that.
said it a few weeks ago, I believe. We never look like winning a game when we step onto the field.
You did have faith in Barcelona though a couple of weeks ago. When you thought they were going to beat Napoli.
Because Napoli looked really bad, and we were looking a little better. But then the Napoli game happened, and we drew 1-1 when we should have won that game. And then everything just kind of fell off after that. It just seems like the team is out of it. I think Xavi's blowing it right now. And I think it's a shame, because this is the last time he's going to be associated with this club in an official capacity.
Now we're going to come back?
Nope, I don't want him back.
Huh?
Where? What club?
Maybe a low team.
What club in Europe has the squad that Barcelona has and is going to take him on?
Maybe
of
not
other
the same
coaches.
squad as Barcelona, but maybe he could do good with a low team. Maybe a team
With
like
what? If he
be
can't do
around.
it, if he can't do it with these players, he's gonna do it with a team with worse players. No,
Hey, less pressure. Look at Emery though.
less pressure. He's played Champions League, World Cup finals, Club World Cup finals, Classico semifinals with Barcelona. He knows what pressure is. He just isn't a good coach.
Not even a team.
He's not a good coach.
But what about with a low team? You don't really think so?
No.
Really?
It's not
Emery's
like-
done it though.
It's not like Emery's a better coach than Xavi. Let's be real. But Emery has a lot more years of experience as a coach too.
Don't you think maybe that's what
He
Xavi
has
needs a
like,
little?
He won like 3 Europa Leagues with Sevilla and a Sevilla squad that was fighting for the league titles at one point. Xavi won the league with a Barcelona squad that was a fantastic Barcelona squad,
But went to Europa League too.
but also got knocked out of the Europa League in the same season.
I don't get that.
He's a strange man. He is. He just isn't the manager that we thought he would be. I think it's kind of his own fault.
Why's
Right?
that?
He may think that he was sabotaged by the media, but he got in his own way a lot. He had a great squad, and he wasn't able to make them play the way that they should be. They lost confidence in him as a coach, and that's why we're where we're at now.
Oh,
We need Flick in this squad. With Flick, we would have won this game.
yeah. You wish he would come, but I think
would've
I see him more in Bayern than in
I
Barca.
don't think so.
You don't think Bayern would take back a coach that they once had?
They fired him.
I feel like Flick would come back because he's still at home.
Sure.
If he
From what I've
goes-
heard, he's much more favoring towards a Barcelona move than going back to Bayern.
You know what's another rumor? Luis
What?
Enrique.
Oh, fuck that. motherfucker.
You wouldn't want to take Luis Enrique
And
back.
forget the fact that in his last season he got blown out of the Champions League. He lost the league in controversial fashion, to be fair. And
Really?
yeah,
Oh.
you're robbed in that. You were robbed that league title. You were robbed away
You
from
don't
home.
think Zidane
against,
was better?
No, we were robbed that way away from home against Villarreal. We were robbed away from home at against Betis. Real Madrid won that league by 1 point, and we were robbed 6 points.
Didn't they destroy Betis that season though? In the beginning of the game, because they played Betis their first game of the season.
First game of the season we beat them 5-2. Away then we drew 1-1 away from home when Sergio Roberto had a goal chalked off. No,
No,
we had a goal ruled out. No, we had a ball
that was
across
against
the line.
Alaves, and they lost. I think.
No,
I think
it
I know
was
which game you're
Betis.
talking about.
It was I'm gonna pull it up right now. You don't believe
Wait, hold up. You're talking about the beginning of the season, right?
it? No, this is towards the end of the season. This is
Oh,
second
no.
half of the season.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Because I know I know in the beginning of the season, Luis Enrique's Barca team in his last season was were winning a lot of games, and that was without Neymar. They were winning by a margin of goals too. And then they played against Alaves, and then they lost.
we lost 2-1 against Alaves. I remember that game. But point is, no, Luis Enrique is not the coach I think that I want. He's hardly tearing it up with PSG.
I mean,
Right.
no one does good in PSG, honestly.
Yeah, but
Let's be real.
he didn't do great with Spain.
No, yeah, that shocked me.
Right, with the squad that Spain has, and I just don't think he's the right option.
The Euros, in the
They
Euros,
will be doing the
shocked
same
me.
thing that we always do, expecting something different.
and we don't get that.
Exactly, it's appointing another Xavi, another Ronald Koeman.
That's a little bit insulting to Luis Enrique, don't you think?
He won a single Champions League, and everybody sucks him off like he was this spectacular coach. Right?
I think he was. You don't think so?
No. What did he do after that? Nothing.
I mean, let's look. He had a double. He won 38 games unbeaten.
Okay, he chose to win the Copa del Rey over a Champions League. He lost 3-0 to Maximiano Allegri's Juventus team. Come on.
That was a really defensive Juve
He played
team, though.
Jeremy Matthew in a back three against Juventus away from home.
I don't get why Matthew played that game still to this day.
Like, come on. Like, he was hardly a tactical genius. Anybody with Messi, Suarez, and Neymar up top, Ivan Rakitic, Andres Iniesta, and Busquets in the midfield is going to make a
Maybe
Champions
he
League
wasn't
final.
a tactical genius, but you still got to give him credit because he went all his time at Barcelona undefeated at home at least. Not that it's a big
I
deal.
could care less. He
but-
was undefeated at home. I wanted to win trophies.
But he did get that. When do you remember a manager who brought you trophies every season at least?
I don't care about the Copa del Rey. The last season, he just won a Copa del Rey. I would rather go trophyless than win a Copa del Rey.
Really?
That's a lie. No, I don't. I want to win something, but fuck.
But look, think about it. After Luis Enrique left, Valverde, he won the season trophyless. Kike,
No,
he
he
won a
didn't.
trophy. He won a season trophyless. Yeah,
No, he didn't.
his last season where he got fired.
He was sacked halfway through.
Oh, come on. Well deserved though, don't you think?
No, what? How are you going to sack a manager halfway through when he's top of the table?
He should have been sacked at the beginning of
He should have been
after
sacked at the
second
beginning of the season.
No. After the end of his second
I
season.
agree too. But in those 2 seasons, he won 2 doubles in a row. He almost went undefeated in La Liga.
What 2 doubles? The first double, 1 double in his first
17,
season.
18, he won a double. 18, 19, he won a single. You're right.
Just La Liga.
Just La Liga.
He could have won a double, but Barcelona players were fucked mentally.
Exactly. But, point is, like, at the end of the day, and Luis Enrique is not a good idea. He's past it.
I have faith in Enrique. I really like him.
I don't.
I
I
like
want
him
him
a
back.
lot. But that's a conversation for next time. Let's move on now.
We're really wasted 5 minutes.
We went too much time. This is what happens when we talk about Arsenal and Barcelona. They're just
Exactly.
really good conversations to
Exactly,
have.
right? They're just complete shit shows. I think the last game. Are we going to talk about Dortmund PSV?
No, we don't really care about that.
I just want Luke de Jong to
Do
score. I
you
love that
really?
guy.
Do you really pay attention to Dortmund or PSV?
I love PSV.
I don't know anything. You really?
I love PSV. I love Luke de Jong.
Oh, so you do have a knowledge of how PSV do then?
Oh, absolutely. No, I don't watch a single game. But if
Oh,
I had to
never
choose,
mind.
But if I had to choose, I want PSV.
So
to
who do you
go
think
through.
would qualify? Do you know yet or not yet?
I haven't made a call yet. I want PSV to win though.
I'm going for Dortmund.
I think Luke de Jong scores a last minute goal and wins the game.
I'm going for Dortmund. But we
Silence
should
is the
talk
single Green
about
Park.
the last one. I think which is the biggest game of all the games that before the round of 16 started. Atletico against Inter.
Inter win 2-0.
Inter have been scary now, honestly.
They've
I've looked at Inter's recent
They've
games.
been crazy good.
Oh my fucking god!
They're better than they were last season.
If there's a team you didn't want to face as a runner up when the Champions League draw happened, it had to be Inter, and it still is.
I think Inter last season, if the refereeing was any good, they would never have made that Champions League final.
I'm not gonna lie. I think this Inter side is better. Though.
This Inter side wipes the floor with the Inter side from last season. They're looking very, very
They're not
good.
even good defensively, but they're good defensively and offensively.
They're a solid team overall.
It just shows that the transformation this team has had
And
since last
Atletico
season.
Madrid never win important games either.
Pause. Hold on. I gotta defend them here because they do win. They have won important games though.
One important game.
In history,
Yeah.
Barca
Well, in the quarterfinals,
twice.
and they lost the final against Real Madrid.
They won. They beat Bayern.
And they lost the final against Real Madrid.
They beat Chelsea.
They lost the final against Real
We
Madrid.
get the point that Chelsea. We get the point that Atletico's biggest fear is Real Madrid. True. Okay, we got that. But they do beat big. They do. Blah blah. Sorry. They do show up for important games, like Liverpool too, when they beat them.
And they got
This-
knocked out in the next game.
Yeah, that game really fucking pissed me off.
I don't think.
But they do show up. Hold up, they do show up for important games.
All right, yeah. You know what? They show up in one game, but then they won't show up in the next one. And if they're wearing white, they definitely won't show up.
Wait a minute, and they could show. They did show up for this season against Real Madrid.
They drew 1-1.
And what about the other two?
They beat him in the Copa del Rey.
And
And what? The
La Liga.
La Liga? In the beginning of the season?
then they beat
Right,
them.
now they're fifth. Now they're fourth. Now they're fourth.
They've been fourth though.
They're always fourth.
They haven't showed up. They haven't been. Well, actually, they're always third.
Yeah, whenever they're always third because every other team in the league is pretty shit. But now Girona showed up, and that's why they're fourth.
Yeah, they're gonna get that spot eventually because after the game I saw from Girona, I've lost hope.
I already said that Girona were a myth. We're gonna smack them up 4-0 at home.
I was really pissed. I really had faith in them. but
We're
they
gonna
couldn't
smack
take
them up at
advantage.
their stadium. Don't worry.
My dad said the exact same thing with Girona.
Last season, then last year when we played them at home, right? That's different. But at their home, we're gonna slap them up. Don't worry about it.
No,
Inter are gonna win 2-0. Lautaro
comment
Martinez is
on
gonna
that.
get a double, and Atletico Madrid are gonna do what they always do.
but if
Lose.
Atletico want to come, do well in this game, what can they do though?
Pray,
Is it if they don't have Griezmann?
pray,
If they do have Griezmann though,
pray. If they were playing against any other team except for City and Real, they would probably win it because they have a good enough squad for it. But this Inter team,
would you even include
is
Inter
scary.
in that conversation too, or no?
Aside from Inter, they're playing
Okay.
Inter. Anyone aside from Inter, City, and Real Madrid,
Because that's their
Obviously.
biggest fear.
they would probably win at home, especially. But this Inter side is too good for them.
home and away too. Inter already pretty much secured the Serie A.
Pretty much, yeah.
It really looks that way. if Juve couldn't have beaten Napoli, not that Napoli sucks, but it's not just Napoli too. Let's be real.
Napoli haven't been great this season either.
It's games that Juve should have won, but they didn't. They didn't. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And this Inter Milan side, before we also move on, let's take a look real quick. This Inter side, 4-0 against Lecce. I think that's how you pronounce it. 4-0 against Atalanta.
Lecce.
2-1 Genoa. 1-0 Atletico. 4-0
Salernitana.
Thank you. 2-4 Roma. 1-0 Juve. 1-0 Fiorentina. 1-0 Inter. The point is, look, right there from those games I've just said.
They're killing
They've
it, man.
only gotten conceded by who? Roma? From what I just said?
And Genoa.
And Genoa. And yet they mopped the floor with all those other teams, as expected. They lived up to the expectations.
They're doing great. And I don't see Atletico Madrid beating them.
Is there a chance that they could choke this game at all?
Nope.
Not one?
Nope.
Atletico need every good player on their side.
They need all the
And
players.
should Morata start? Because that's the question that everyone had. Why did Morata not start?
Because Diego Simeone's a bitch.
Do you like Diego Simeone as a
No.
coach?
Why
you
is he
don't?
still there?
Huh?
Honestly, I have a whole thing about him. I think Atletico Madrid overall do not have a good squad, right? And the only coach that can get that team to play Champions League football every year is Diego Simeone. But Diego Simeone is also the only reason why that squad will never win any trophies for any prolonged period of time
Now or
in general.
before Simeone came to
They were an
Atletico?
irrelevant team.
Huh?
They were an irrelevant team before Simeone. Now they're a team that's somewhat known and relevant. But that's only because of Simeone, but also the reason why they'll never win anything else is also because of Simeone. Tactically, he is not good enough of a coach to make that team play any better than they do.
Do you think that team has reached its peak?
I think that team, that squad, that's as good as they're going to get.
Interesting.
Me personally.
How about even before though? Back when Atletico were just beating every favorite team in Champions League.
Simeone wasn't able to get them to win a Champions League.
But do you still think he was a good coach back then or not?
Yeah, for Atletico Madrid. But any other coach after losing two Champions League finals, right, and not winning anything else, probably would have got sacked. Because that Atletico Madrid squad at that moment was a fantastic squad
That he created.
that he built, but also that he wasn't able to get to win in a trophy of actual importance. They only ever win league titles when Barcelona and Real Madrid aren't playing well. They don't win Champions League titles. They don't win Copa del Rey's either. They win Europa Leagues, which is a trophy that for them is a big deal, but for no one that's a big squad in Europe is a big deal.
But they were expected to win Europa League.
Sure. I mean, for them,
They were expected. When they got relegated that season from Champions League and then they went on to win Europa League, it was expected.
yeah.
Honestly. But what about that season when they did win La Liga with Real Madrid side that won Champions League?
Which one?
13-14 when they won in
No,
the
they
Camp Nou.
robbed Barcelona in the last game of the season.
Do you remember that game or no?
I didn't watch that game. I was like 11 years old when that game happened. I wasn't really watching all that much soccer. But I watched it recently, and they robbed Barcelona in that game.
Really?
Messi scored a goal that was unfairly ruled off for offside, and with that goal, Barcelona would have been champions.
What? Wait, you said it was offsides? Or
It was off. It wasn't offsides, but it was called
wasn't.
for offside. Mateo Laos is a wonderful referee. I'm glad he's retired.
Oh, he was the ref.
It's on site if I ever see him.
I
but-
actually saw him in person.
You did? Oh, you at the stadium, right? That's
Stadium.
different. I mean, like if he's ever like around here and I see him walking around, it's on site.
You know, out
But-
of all the refs, I wouldn't have imagined him being the ref that day.
He's a piece of shit. But yeah, that league they won was unfairly won because it was
Really?
yeah.
You
it
think
was.
it's controversial?
The league they won with Luis Suarez as their striker. I mean, that was a league that they won because Barcelona and Real Madrid were really bad. It was a Real Madrid side.
Yeah, that was Real Madrid, Zidane's last season. It wasn't the best.
It was a Real Madrid
wasn't
side that went
the best.
trophyless and a Barcelona side that only won a Copa del Rey.
Actually, that side didn't even go. Oh yeah, it did.
It did go
Real
trophy.
Madrid went trophyless, but at least Barca won Copa del Rey.
Sure. whatever. It's better than nothing.
Would you rather
But
go
yeah,
trophyless or
overall-
Copa del Rey?
Trophy. Obviously, I'd rather win a trophy in the season, right? But it's hardly a trophy to write home about.
At least you won something.
Yeah.
But controversial. I might want to get onto that later on, some other day though.
Yeah.
Some other day.
I have a lot of very controversial opinions.
But I think that's as far as we could go for Champions League talk.
Yeah, I
of
think so
course.
too.